Hello, yes, come on in. Please have a seat. You're here for a portfolio review, is that correct? You look it for sure. Yes, please come in, have a seat. Get comfortable. This is going to take a little bit of time. But do not worry. You will leave here potentially scarred, but most importantly, very ready to work on your portfolio so that you can cease to be this starving entity that you are. And perhaps you can recognize that the criticism that I will give you is comes from a very important place, and that place is realistic expectations and complete objectiveness about your subjective matter. All right? Okay, well, since we're going to get started, I want you to sort out and put together some of the things that you want to show me, right? The highlights. I don't have time to look at everything because, let's be honest, it's too much. And while you do that, I'm going to ask you a few questions just to get some of your information, right? So, could I get your name, please? Okay. Is that... Okay. If I were to say it's a pretty long name, I would go with a different name, just, so that it's easier for people to pronounce. It's not racist to say that, by the way. It's really... The industry is racist, and so you must understand that if you have a difficult to pronounce name, that people might have problems with it. So simply change it. It's really not a big deal. And so people will not really know who you are, and there won't be any recognition, and you're essentially gutting a part of your very being just for, to appease some nobody. But, nobodies need to be appeased. So, anyway, last name? Okay. Your last name's not that bad. No. Oh, no, I don't ask for spelling here. How you say it is how I'm going to spell it, because if I'm being honest, part of the portfolio review is reviewing your name and your identity, and, it's basically you're in denial. Yes, you're in denial if you think that your name is spelled some different way. So, anyway, let's go ahead and discuss the next question, which is what kind of artistic work are you going for? Sort of a mishmash. That's not a very good way to describe it, I will say. That's all right. That's all right. Does that mean that you've brought... Oh, I see. You've brought many things to discuss and for me to look at. Okay. Well, you're mainly an illustrator. Okay. Book cover designer, storybook artist. Okay. That's wonderful. That's very wonderful. And have you had success? You have. That's brilliant. Well, if that's the case, then, it's never too late to get a portfolio. But how are you a starving artist then? You blew it all on gambling. Well, and now no one wants to work with you. Okay, to be honest, that's fine. Everyone does it every now and then. So. Okay, well, with that, let's just go ahead and get started. Yes, there's no need to beat around the bush here. So, let us go ahead and get started here. So, let's see what you've brought. You've brought some tarot cards. Do you have a full deck? No, you just have some samples. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started then. Let's take a look at this. This is the first card that you're showing me. It is the Page of Wands. Now, I am not going to I'm going to be honest, I don't particularly know a lot about tarot cards, but I've seen a lot of tarot cards in my day. A lot of them. So, for this particular tarot card right here, you have a young lad, right? Sort of monochromatic, and you have a sort of a field, some nice clouds, and some nice detail work. I can give you that. Now, my critique of this would be it's incredibly dull. When I look at this, I feel very blah. And it's not you. It's really, it's not you. It's just the artwork that you've created. It's not sparking anything within me. When I look at it, I think, wow, that is artwork. So I will say potentially something to work on for this if you have the file still online or on your computer or however you work. I would suggest with this in particular is to go ahead and scrap the whole thing, right? There's no need to go monochromatic. I mean, don't be afraid of color. Now, also, I would say think about giving detail to these shapes. I see that you have a silhouette here, and it's very good. It's a good silhouette. I can give you that. It's a very good silhouette. But it's okay to step outside your comfort zone, and to show that you can do things that other people perhaps can't. So, yes, this is particularly uninspired. Okay. Now, next I'm going to look at the second tarot card. Okay, so this is the Magician, right? This is one of the major arcana, so it's a bit more detailed, I can see. Okay, so if by comparison, I would say remove the Page of Swords. You don't need it on your portfolio because it's very dull. By comparison, this loses a bit of its shape. It's colourful. It's very red and yellow, and I see what you're doing there. But I mean, red and yellow is particularly last season, and every portfolio artist knows that they must be on trend, right? So. This in particular is a little bit not drab, but it's a bit in your face, and it's a bit I don't want to say it's very good. I want to say that it's behind the times. You really need to, like, when I look at this, I think of Tumblr. Right? When I should be thinking of Fortnite, right? I should be thinking of TikTok, but instead I'm thinking of Tumblr and the gone days of Twitter. That is not good at all. But, in terms of fidelity, sure, you've done a very good job. You have some good color blocking, and there's some nice detail work here. It's a nice little magician with a beard and some... You can see some really long hair, and it's quite smooth. But these are all things that people will tell you, but still project you. So if I'm being honest, these are what I'm telling you is the truth. It's just something that you must understand. You must understand. So the Page of Swords, get rid of that. But this one, it could be reworked. So what I would do. Is I would add more, make it more complicated. Make it so that when the person looks at it, when someone's reviewing your portfolio and they're looking at it, they don't really know what they're looking at, And if you want, you could potentially, you could add some detail. You could do some 3D modeling to put in there. I know you said you're an illustrator, but really, an artist is just a jack of all trades nowadays, so you really must be able to do that. Okay? All right, so that's that. Now, the last one that you have brought to me is Judgment. Here's Judgment. It's sort of an angel with sort of orangish yellow wings, and then you have them blowing a horn. It's a bit suggestive, don't you think? In a nice sort of pinkish sky with some clouds. Orange and yellow are very complementary, but I would say that you're really going with less detail in these tarot cards, and if you want to wow people, you want to add more detail. It doesn't matter if the detail doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if the details make it worse. Making it worse will make it better. Trust me on that. Trust me. So when you have here this horn, I do think it's a bit suggestive. No one uses the horn as an instrument if they're not trying to make a suggestive remark. So I would eliminate that. Make him wield a violin of some kind or a piano or something. And I can see that he's a bit naked. just a teeny bit. He's sort of covered by his wings. Go ahead and put the full frontal. Why not? If you are an artist, this is a career path and a profession. You're a professional, and you don't need to hide anything. So, I understand you're trying to be tasteful, but being tasteful is also very tacky, and being tacky can sometimes be tasteful, and sometimes it doesn't really matter. And perhaps tacky is a racist term, but it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that I want more. All right? So, those are your tarot cards, yes? Okay, well, here you go. You can have them back. All right. Anything? What's next? Okay, you've brought your only published storybook, yes? Okay, and this is the Quilt Maker's Gift. Interesting. I see a lot of illustration here, just in the cover alone. Yes, you have a bald man, you have this gentleman, you have a bear with a pillow. Or is that a quilt? It's probably a quilt in it. And then you also have a sort of a individual in sort of pajamas. It's very interesting. It feels a bit random. I will say it's a bit random. It has a bit of whimsy to it, which I appreciate. But the whimsy needs to carry through, right? And I see it's the Quilt Maker's Gift. It's a bit confusing. Are you trying to say that a quilt maker should be gifting this, or should the quilt maker get this as a gift, or is this a children's book? You haven't said, and by looking at this alone, I don't know. And I could open it up and I could take a gander and figure it out immediately. But, I shouldn't have to, because, I don't want to do any work to understand what it is that I'm looking at. And instead, I want you to bend over backwards to make sure that I understand, So, but I will say the colours are horrendous. So you have that going for you. Okay, let's take a look here at a few of these pages. Okay, let's take a look at this one, actually. This one is a good one to take a look at. So, right here, you see a lady, yes? This lady, she is working on a quilt on the ground here. And it's very interesting to me that you've done this. Sorry, you have brought a very cumbersome sort of portfolio, but this is a bit random, I would say. Not random, sorry. It's a bit interesting because I think that she is actually pretty well done. She has some details and she's perhaps very famed, sort of like a storybook. But the quilt down here, why would she be working on the quilt outside? It really doesn't make sense narratively. Oh, no, I did not read this, but, just looking at it, I mean, any person can look at this and understand that this is narratively inconsistent, so you need to look at it, especially, if I'm looking at the flowers here that you've put, some of these are natives and some of them are not. Some of them are perennials and some of them are annuals. I think that you really need to do a bit of research as to what kinds of nature you want to put around, as well as where someone might actually make a quilt, And if she's old, she probably has arthritis, and so why are you torturing this woman by making her work on quilts with her hands? No. She probably hires someone because everybody has the money to hire someone to make a quilt. And, so this might be her hobby, but no hobby is worth paying, So you should really understand that, some inconsistencies are just not excusable. Yes. Let us see here. What else do we have here that I can't? My word, you have done a lot here. I don't really want to belabor the point, because if I belabor the point, then you might not listen, and if you don't listen, then this is completely useless. Okay, how about this page here? Let's do this one. This one I think is an okay page, because you can see that this old lady is sharing some sort of refreshments with this bear here. And I don't really know what this has to do with quilting. Again, another inconsistency that I think you need to work on. But what I will say is her face does look good, and I really hate to say it, but it does look good. And these berries do look very nice, and he's pouring honey into it. The consistency of the honey could use some work. It kind of looks like you sort of drew it from memory, and you really shouldn't have. But otherwise, I do think that you have created a scene here that overall reads a bit unfortunate, right? Because clearly, this woman's going to die, right? She's with a bear. And yes, I understand there's a bit of whimsy at the beginning, but it's not enough to warrant her having, her dying. That's not whimsical. So, again, narrative and tonal inconsistencies within this book. Are you not a narrator? Are you not the writer of this? Still, as an artist, it is imperative that you, get these straight with the author. What was that? You're saying that I'm wearing a very colourful and sort of whimsical sweater. No, you don't understand. This is a post-ironic sweater. It is a completely serious, and surely you do not understand the significance of this sweater that I'm wearing. And I can tell from your portfolio, I'm really sorry to say. But so what I would say with this book, just these 2 pages is enough, I think, for me to get a nice understanding that this book... does not go all the way, and it's narratively and tonally inconsistent, and really it needs a bit of work on your end, okay? So, anything else? Okay, you've brought some book covers. Okay, I can take a look. That's totally fine. Okay, so this is the first one that you've brought. It's Bedazzled. Okay, well, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's, bedazzled, and then you have bedazzled, the lettering. I would say it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? You've really taken this opportunity to not experiment, and to be honest, the black with the red, I mean, yes, it's a very classic combination, but it's been done before. I mean, it's something that I would associate with an amateur artist, if I'm being honest. I mean, sure, you have, classical people who have done such combinations, but they're the classics. They're exempt from these rules. You live in the now, and in the now, it's way more complicated, and you simply, do not have a shot at pleasing everybody. So, let's go ahead and take a better look here. I would say that the colour choice that you've made here with the bedazzling is a bit not very good. Yes, because it stands out a bit too much. Bedazzling is all about being subtle. Yes? I mean, I don't know how you do it here, but where I'm from, when we bedazzle, we bedazzle with consistency and with a fine eye, because it's more important to know that it's bedazzled than to see that it's bedazzled. So I would also say that the typeface here is incredibly... a sans serif font is not. It's a bit overdone, don't you think? It's very millennial. I would go with maybe a serif of some kind. Maybe I would even go for. And I understand that you edited this very heavily, but again, I would not look at this and think great design. In fact, I would look at this and think boring design. And my opinion is, of course, the most important opinion, and no other person in the whole wide world can compare to my opinion, because my opinion is, of course, objective, and it's objective about a subjective matter, which means that it is objective fact. Okay, so that is that. Let's look at the next book. Okay, so the next book you're telling me has more of a illustrative vibe. It's not just text. Okay, let's take a look here. So this is Ever After. I see what you're saying here. There's more of an illustration, and the illustration is well rendered. I would say that the colours are unique. But what do I know about these people when I look at this? See, the thing about illustration, if you opt for an illustration as a book cover, it means that I, looking at it as a consumer, and particularly if I'm looking to hire you, I want to know that you can convey every single character trait of the people on the cover just by looking at them. I want you to be able to convey to me everything about the book from start to end, every nuance, everything, and I don't have to read it. You know what they say, don't judge a book by its cover, but I want you to be able to let me judge a book by its cover. So, in this instance, I know nothing about this land or this land. And perhaps I can infer he's wearing a crown, so perhaps he's some form of royalty, and this person's wielding a staff, perhaps he's some form of mage, and they're sitting awfully close to each other, so perhaps there's some form of romance going on, but that's not enough. No, I need to be able to understand the minute personality traits. So how I would go about doing this is I would figure out all of the personality traits, write them down in a particularly long list, and then I would draw a pose of each character in a sort of action that exemplifies every single pose, and just slap it on here. That will work wonders. And, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be a scene. And it doesn't have to be rendered even properly. It's just, it would be tons better than this beautiful artwork. So, okay. Okay, and last one, is it? Yes. This is another illustration. I already see problems. Here. See, with this one, you've gone for a more straightforward composition, just a person sort of looking forward. It's a bit stark. It's a bit, dastardly, really. I will say this is a serif font, so I am a bit impressed that you went with a serif font. But you did go for the risen sort of cover, and I don't really like that. You're trying too much, trying way too much. And if I'm being honest, this artwork is it's too beautiful. It's too. When someone looks at it, all the things that I said before apply to this one, but it's just simply, it's not it. It's really not it. And if you haven't gotten the constructive criticism that I've been trying to tell you, then me going on and on about that one is certainly not going to help. So, but yes, with that, that is the entire portfolio review. Yes, I know you brought more pieces, but I will say that I have seen enough to understand what kind of a portfolio you have. So what I will say, I'm going to write down some notes for you to improve. And really, it's one big note, and the note is to drop out, stop trying, Oh no, don't be upset. No, it's certainly not you. It's just there's so many artists these days, and it's a really tough competition. And I in particular, I'm incredibly successful, but I of course was lucky. I had a wealthy background. I had a natural talent born from a very young age. So you can't compete. No. Well, yes, I know we did both apply to the same job before, and you did get it and I didn't. But that was so long ago, I really don't remember. Yeah, it's quite difficult for me to recall, to be honest. Anyway, so that will be, of course, so a $200,000. It's non-negotiable. And after you give me that as a lump sum, there will be, of course, a recurring payment for the next 5 years as you continue to work on your portfolio, because now I own part of your portfolio and I can use it however I deem fit. You signed all of this in the agreement when you signed up for this class. And of course, apply to some jobs and potentially take your job by using your artwork, and potentially, some people might call it theft, but I call it being crafty. And for someone who had designed the Bedazzled, you understand that it is craftiness is important. So anyway, let's go ahead here and get you all checked out. Okay, so $200,000. I expect that payment to be sent to me as soon as possible. Okay? All right, then. Well, I wish you luck in your future endeavors, and I am certain that you will find perhaps nothing. Okay? Okay.